Before our very eyes, Beyblade is changing. Yet another new line of Beyblade has been released, and with it, a whole new generation of kids letting it rip. Oh, I gotta change that. And with it, a whole new generation of kids to entertain. This time, however, it seems that there is no better time to be a Beyblade fan, whether you're big or small. I mean, come on, just look at the quality of these things. It definitely reminds me of something from prior years. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Today we're tackling the new line of Beyblades and how I believe they are the best version of Beyblade yet. And as well as that, take a moment to look back at where this really all started for me and many others around my age. This is the new generation, Beyblade X. First, let's look at the most important thing, the marketing. Yes, that's right, it really isn't about the toys unless they're selling. And what sells them is the marketing. Throughout its history, Beyblade's marketing for the tops has always been based around like a competitive sport-like scene where the protagonist is going up against someone who's seemingly stronger than them. And it's like all dark and gritty. And they really cheese it up for the commercials to make it look cool, but then you'd get it and it would be like this sometimes.
Battled at BeybladeBattles.com.
That is why I always thought the commercials of generations previous were always a little over the top. The kids' imaginations will do a lot of the work, though, to be fair. On the contrary, this new line of Beyblade has been made with the idea in mind that it is now a sport. All around the world, you're able to compete in Beyblade tournaments with these suckers, and it looks wild. Not to spoil anything, but these suckers perform just as well in real life as they do in the commercials. In all the advertisements for Beyblade X, you see this rebellious underground indie Beyblade scene where people of all ages are battling it out to see who's the best of them all. You've really got all your must-haves for making something look corporate cool. There's neon lights, a raised stadium, different generations all enjoying the same sport. There's a guy breakdancing. It's got it all. Yeah, for a line that's been reinventing itself for over 20 years, this isn't bad at all. I was a little skeptical looking at it, though. I mean, I've been disappointed by big and promising things before. So is my girlfriend. Heyo. Irrespective of my skepticism, though, there was a feeling that this was something different. The presentation, layout, and bays themselves all seemed fresh in a good way. It seemed like there was no better time to jump back on the Beyblade train than now. Needless to say, these ads did the trick. But does that alone make these special? What is Beyblade X going for with the new line that's really gonna set it apart from its ancestors, I wondered. So I bought all of the first wave and some change to get that answer for myself. Let's first take a look at the stadium. You've got a pretty vertically impressive stadium, as opposed to what I was used to back in my day. You've got guard walls, pits for the bays to fall in, and one big hole in the side which coincides with the gears on the perimeter. These gears serve a huge importance to the new gimmick of these bays, which we'll go into in a moment. Overall, the first model of the Beyblade X Stadium looks and feels awesome with a good amount of weight, versatility, and fun. A small tangent here. I've always preferred my launchers with grips, but I hated the original Metal Fight grips and how they latched onto the launcher. It never worked. This new generation has perfected the grips with just a spring and a snap. Perfection. As for the Beyblades themselves, we've got some huge changes from the previous line, Beyblade Burst. First of all, we got metal as our primary contact point once again. Woo! That's what I'm talking about, baby. We also have some very tall Beyblades, especially when we compare them to the Metal Fight series. This serves an important purpose, though. See those gears on the bottom of the bit? Those gears, when made in contact with the stadium perimeter, will boost the Beyblade at high speeds onto this lip, where it then attacks the very center of the stadium and sends the other bay flying out this hole. This is what is being called an X-Dash, or an extreme dash. And it's actually way cooler in person than you might think. Let's just say it's a good thing they added these walls, and I'll leave it at that. This isn't even the only thing that they can do. It's like Takara Tomy was doing a victory lap with all the previous generations because you have aspects of each and every single one of them. From the very first gen, plastic, you have old bays getting repurposed as Beyblade X bays. You have the original names for some of the parts getting re-implemented. As well as that, you have the original sticker layout with the characters in the dead center. You have the metal contact points from Metal Fight along with the bay point system returning. Huge W. And if those things weren't enough, you also get an extra layer of depth to these bays in that they can also burst. Keep in mind though, we're still at the very beginning of Beyblade X releases. As of writing this, Phoenix Wing and Wyverngale were just announced. So these early stages have yet to reveal all the cards that Beyblade X is going to play. And nor should they. I recall back to Metal Fight where even 4 years into the series, they were still coming up with cool new things for each Beyblade. Speaking of Metal Fight, one of the things that made that series stand out was not just its tops and commercials, but the very soul of the franchise. Where all the kids dreamed that they could take their bays and use them. Looking back on it, this show is way more fun than it should be. Even as an adult. The original Metal Fight focuses on a boy named Jinga Hagane and his quest to become the world's greatest blader. Through his journeys, he makes many friends and enemies, and even frenemies. It was not by concept any different from your Bakugan or Pokemon or any other collector type show. There is, at least in my mind, something that set Beyblade apart from the rest though. That was its heart. This show is so passionate about Beyblade, and it made you become passionate about Beyblade as a result. And for me, there's one scene in particular that shows the heart and the passion that really was behind this show.
If only I could become as strong as you, Jinga. Those face hunters wouldn't be able to make a fool out of me.
It takes a lot of heart.
Takes heart?
Yes, it does. Because a Beyblade attacks you here.
I don't get it.
Don't worry about it. Just relax like this.
Like this? Okay. Wow!
A Beyblade's true strength has nothing to do with attack power or stamina. It attacks using the feelings of the blader who is connected with it, as if all the power in the cosmos was being poured into it. You must put your heart that is as big as the starry sky into it.
Wow, that's heavy! Really heavy!
Is it cheesy? Yes. Did I take it seriously? Oh, hell yes. That scene and many others where the concept of Blader's spirit was discussed made me think that any Bey I wanted could win if I believed in it enough. That was something super important for this franchise to work. You have the logical side with launch angles, speed, and part choice, and the fantastical side with Blader's spirit and flying horses butting heads with purple dragons. Both bases are covered to make a truly timeless product.
Let it rip!
So what is the new Beyblade show like? From all the trailers and small portions being put onto YouTube, it looks to be a lot more sporty than the Metal series. Remember Moses parting the Red Sea with a Beyblade? Yeah, it doesn't look like this series will be out there like Metal Fight. Whether that's a good or a bad thing remains to be seen, but so far it looks a load of fun. Reserving judgment for when they localize it, however. What I will say is how much more clear the visuals look from what I remember. It seems like Beyblade X has cleaned up a lot of the previous presentation issues that were present those years ago. As well as that, we're getting a much clearer shot of the Beyblades in the animation. In the Metal series, whenever they'd spin, you would see them turn into this floating 3D object that had the illusion of spinning by making an opaque model and moving it around. Or at least that's what I think was happening. I'm no animator. These models look just like what you're getting in real life, and as a longtime Transformers fan, that is no easy feat, and it does not go without its appreciation. What can I say? I'm hyped to get more in the mail, hyped to see the show, and hyped to have some battles again. Looking into the future seems brighter than ever with this new line. I just can't wait to see where they go. You remember it, right? Christmas mornings while your dad was making breakfast. You and your sibling get up as early as you can to start tearing open boxes with no concern for tape or cardboard. Every year was something different, and this year was 2010. You see one of these greet you. Opening them up and assembling them, you launch them in the stadium 2 at a time and hear the distinct noise of them clashing together. Something so intriguing about this concept, you launch them again. Not even caring if you win or lose, you launch them over and over again. You're already seeing the chrome coating chip away. Funnily enough, the rest of your school all got some as well. Recess becomes a battlefield. Whether you took it seriously or not, you were having fun playing against those who you considered enemies, or possibly even friends. Flash forward 13 years. Full-time job, living week by week, finding joy in things that are not physical. You see an online post, or maybe your friend sent you something on Instagram. Hey, these look like the good old days. And they did. You wake up, make yourself breakfast, receive a package in the mail. Taking some scissors, you gently open up the box and see a familiar yet new sight. Assembling them is a task that seemed easier all that time ago, but you get it pretty quickly after 1 or 2 attempts. Launching 2 of them in for the first time, you hear the distinct sound once again. It's been so long. For a moment, even if it may be brief, you're a kid again. Or, at least that was my experience. Yours may differ, but I know some people who may be of the same mindset that I am. So why not hear a word from them? Alright, I'm here with my good friend Jacob. I'm here with my good friend Brendan. I'm here with my good friend Cooper. Cooper, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Skylar.
Let's see, I was going to ask you a few questions about Beyblade here. Is that cool with you, brother?
Yeah, by all means.
Jacob, which generation of Beyblade do you prefer and why?
I personally like the metal series more.
Man, I'm a little burst baby, so I would say burst, but recently I've been really getting into plastic.
I'd probably say it would have to be the Metal Fusion, Metal Masters, and Metal Fight series. That 3 series generation, because that's what I grew up with, and that's what I had the toys for.
Which is your favorite / strongest Beyblade? If you remember, like I don't expect you to remember the names off the dome.
My favorite of all time was Basalt Haragium.
Oh, yes, okay. Also known in the
Metal Tom.
American as Twisted Tempo.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Dude, my favorite Beyblade is probably Greatest Raphael.
What's he like? What's he do?
It's a really sick gimmick where basically, when he's spinning really fast at the very beginning, his blades are like weighed down due to, how it's spinning and all that. And then as he like slowly loses stamina, his blades will go up, creating like a halo sort of above his head, and it turns him into like a stamina type.
Oh, interesting.
It was a long time ago when I was a kid, but I got a Bay that came in a 2-pack with a Sagittario, and it was a Pegasus, but it had a Rock Fusion wheel, and it was Rock Pegasus.
Rock Pegasus is interesting, and I have a history with that Beyblade.
The other one was Gravity Perseus.
Okay.
But yeah, he was a big old black boy. He was heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to have the right ripper, otherwise he would fall off it.
Because he can
was
spin left
heavy.
and right.
Yeah, this was at summer camp, and there was a kid who was much older than me, and we actually, we were using the backpack arena. He bet, like, hey, I want to put my Gravity Perseus against whatever I had at the time. I can't remember what I was using, but he ripped it too hard. He didn't rip it down. He ripped it sideways, and it just slammed into a backpack. And he's like, he was like, he was probably 3 or 4 years older than me. He's like, hey, that's a bet.
He just gave it to you?
Yeah.
That's
I
legendary.
saw him like 3 or 4 times again after that, but that was it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Out of anybody, and you could maybe say if this is true or not for you, you're the person I've battled with most.
I would agree. You are also that person for me.
I love being that person for you. Let's see. Do you have any of the new Beyblade X Beyblades?
I do actually. One I got for myself, and the other one I was gifted to me actually by a friend.
Yes, actually. I have the 4 starting bays, and then I have the shark cage you gave me.
Oh, which one's been your favorite so far?
Ooh, the balance type is the one I've definitely gotten the most wins with. But my favorite is the
is like,
dude.
usually
he's
balance
so
types
good.
are mid, or they're the best Beyblade. Like
They're
there's
hit or
no in
miss,
between.
definitely.
Well, I'm assuming. Have you heard about the new Beyblade series called Beyblade X?
No, I haven't really kept up with Beyblade, so I don't
gotcha.
know anything about it.
Where do you think the new generation of Beyblade is heading with this new line?
I really like where they're going with it currently. People who grew up with it always wanted, and it was to make it into some sort of competitive sport.
I think in a pretty good direction, man. Because like you have the aspects of like the older like metal fight plastic Beyblades that draw in the older fans, yet it keeps like the burst kit, you know?
Recently, and it was actually Cooper who pointed out to me there was a new generation coming out, and they've gone back to metal as the main contact point, which already is a great plus. But as well as that,
Amen.
we're back to like having the stickers. Like it's great.
Yeah, that'll be a good turning point for them.
But wouldn't it be such a cool follow-up to this if you and I actually went to one and battle?
That would be cool.
That would be super cool. Well, we might do it, we might not. We'll see. Stay tuned. Would you be
Sounds like
interested
fun.
in doing that? Like maybe if we do a follow-up to this video, we could go to a tournament?
Stop! I'd be so down.
If you're cool with that, I'd really, really love to do it. And you made it to the end. Congratulations. This took a minute. I put a lot more effort into making this video than, pretty much anything else I've made. I'm not about to pretend I'm anything professional whatsoever at doing any of this, but man, I do have fun doing it, so I hate asking this, but support the channel, share it, comment, like, subscribe. Do whatever you feel is necessary and what you feel this video deserves or I deserve, so that I could keep making stuff like this, because I really do enjoy it. I did it! Oh my gosh, I went through a whole video about Beyblade without mentioning Ryuga once. Let's go. Oh shit.